All right, sorry about the wait there. Let me get this tweeted out. Let me make sure the audio is working since I got this microphone plugged in. Whenever YouTube wants to actually show we're live, let me just. All right, yeah, cool. We're all good to go. Let me tweet this. If you guys want to just start dropping your questions and stuff. So, what I did was because as I said last night and everything, we're having fun this weekend. We're celebrating, just kind of being at the end of the season. Everybody who's on the Patreon pretty much did this just to support me, because it's like one weekend. You're not just gonna pay for projections, stuff like that. So I'm pretty much just showing. Like last night, I showed the projection. I'll do the same thing here. I'll show the lines. I haven't. What I was gonna say is I haven't made lines, and I haven't gone in past my initial projections. I made the projections, put all up on Patreon, all the stuff that I normally do, but I haven't actually made the lineups or looked into what the builds are going to look like. So we can kind of do that together. We'll chit chat and talk for 45 minutes, an hour. Give you guys like 30 minutes to build your line or do whatever and everything like that. So let me just tweet this out. Thank you so much for everybody who showed up for the watch along last night. That was a lot of fun, more viewers than I certainly thought I was going to get. And it seemed like a lot of people actually had fun hanging out and watching it and everything. It's a fucking wild race to certainly go live on. Let's see. Let me get this out. How is your Saturday going? Is everything going all right? You guys do anything cool this afternoon, today? Yeah, what's going on, Andrew? Xfinity, you guys are racing the truck. That's just literally what it is now. I mean, last night was certainly probably a on the extreme side of that stuff. But I mean, as I tweeted out last night, this is just racing now. Like, and I'm not just saying this because we cover, or like F1 is in DFS now too, but like F1, the pinnacle of racing, the pinnacle. Like, they're just dumping the shit out of each other. We have teammates killing themselves. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. We can't get through. I was telling, because my mom doesn't watch F1. She watched like 20 years ago, but she hasn't watched lately. And I was telling her, like, yeah, F1 is like just as dumb, because there's like 22 races a season, and at least 8 of those you'll have teammates take each other out of the race. And I'm like, and at least like 13 of those races you'll have a wreck in the first corner. Like, these guys are just as bad as other people. Yo, what's going on, Eagles? Happy to have you here. 37 of you guys here on this Saturday. So let's kind of look in and dig in and start talking this. So as I stated, I haven't looked into it yet. I got the projections done, and that was mainly about it. I ran it in here just to get an idea, as I normally do 5,000. I just want 2,000 in my actual lineup, because I just want to have as many things as possible to look at. I want the biggest sample size. My exposures, because I want to see exactly what situations here. So like, and this is what I do in everything. So like here, why do I want like 2,000 lineups in here? Well, because the Myatt Snyder lines aren't going to make it through. We're not going to have 51 if I run like 200 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what kind of lineup is it run if I'm running like Myatt Snyder? So I want to see all the Myatt Snyder lineups here. And so for whatever reason, all the Snyder lineups are actually in the top part of this. It's rated by single game, but it's all. Most of these were in the top 200, and out of, the 2,000 I had. So, like, that's interesting to look at. Anyway, so when we look here, I'm expecting to, just by how this is breaking down and kind of what we did yesterday, what you should always do, no matter if you're hand building, no matter how you're getting your projections. And if you're using mean projections, this is going to get a little funky, because, like, if you use, we run another build, we run SaberSim, like, this is personally for me, and it's not a dig on anything, this is just why I do one number. Like, this doesn't help me build at all. I don't need 12 guys, like, within, like, 8 points of each other. This doesn't help me out at all, man. Because SaberSim will just be like, well, just, flip-flop all like this. I hate using mean projections, personally, for me. I am always curious on what, like, the bottom is projected at. But for me, I I need to visually see like a much more aggressive, like straight on hard hitting number. And so when I do that, you know, you can go in here and you can sort, if I can always remember that. Where are we looking at like top 10 here? So real guys who are going to argue for a top 10. We have Kligerman, who's probably going to be a very popular value play. What's going on, Vinny? Happy to have you. Yeah, just moved. A couple weeks ago, but I wasn't here for Martinsville. What's going on, David? Also, I didn't see you guys. I didn't see you, Vinny, David. I didn't see you guys yesterday. Where were you guys at? That was the truck series preview. That was the watch together. Where were you guys at? You're missing all the fun this weekend. And I guess I'll just go through the actual build here, David. That'll kind of be this one here. So typically, what I do, how do I find value? How do I? Because I don't make projections. I don't do my own like ownership projections. So I just throw my shit in here, and I'm like, okay, let's try and identify where people are going to go before we even get anywhere else. We haven't even looked at practice data. We haven't even looked at this stuff yet. This is just what I do. Also, I would encourage you, especially when you're running a lot of lineups, to keep track of your lineups like this. Like I need to visually see them, but I would advise you to track your lineups in your own actual spreadsheet. It makes it a lot easier. So we're here. So we're probably going to see Kligerman have ownership, because he's a place differential play. Past here, it's going to be wherever people want to go, most likely. And I'm going to assume that I'm higher on Sammy Smith than a majority of people. Like, clearly, Sammy Smith is going to be played. I would assume that most projections... let's see what Saberson had, because I don't even remember. Just right off the bat, it had Mayer, Nemechek, Allgaier. So, and I'm not looking at Sammy Smith, or not looking at Sam Smith. I'm not looking at Sam Mayer because he's a place differential play. Looking specifically at potential lap leaders, they had Nemechek, Allgaier, Custer, all within 3 points of each other. I'm going to assume Sammy Smith is, so Sammy Smith is pretty low on that. I'm not saying that's right or wrong for Saberson. I just need to identify. At this point, I'm looking to, where am I at? Just right off the bat. Okay, so clearly I'm higher on Sammy Smith. We're probably going to have Nemechek be probably the second, at least with me. We're probably going to see Nemechek as the highest lap leader owned on DraftKings. Past that, it'll probably be Allgaier. And the reason I'm saying that is due to now at this point, we can kind of bounce around and look at the practice data and stuff like this. And let me know if you guys like this type of format. I'm assuming that if I end up going somewhere, this is the type of live show I'm going to always do. But let me know the feedback on this specifically. You got 2 more days of this, so I need feedback like rapidly. I can't wait for next year. If you guys want stuff like this. But when we look at Nemechek, we're probably going to see Nemechek be the highest owned driver, and certainly have the championship for. When we look specifically at the Xfinity Series, you need to basically win this race to win the championship, so that's a high likelihood. When we look at him compared to Allgaier, we see Allgaier here running pretty similar laps and practice, very similar in terms of long run, like they ran long, so we can trust both of these two speeds just here. Then we can go into where are these guys at directly, because they're competing against each other in the long runs. And I just don't understand why people didn't do 15 laps, dude. It's Phoenix. It takes like 7 minutes to do 15 laps. Why would you not do more 15 lap runs? But pretty much head to head, pretty identical. We see this is where the drop off really starts to go into Nemechek's favor. And then Allgaier didn't run necessarily that long. Now, I will say that the other aspect of this that we need to focus on and keep into account, 51 of you guys here, thank you very much for being here. Go ahead and put anything in the chat. I don't give a shit if it's like random nonsense. I just like to see the chat engaged in this stuff. When we look at this specifically, we know the number 1 pit stall has a significant advantage here. Sammy Smith, in my opinion, has a pretty shit pit stall. This is a real concern, and my main concern with Sammy Smith. I'm going to get back to Nemechek in a second. The fact that Sammy is on the back straightaway, when we look at the radius of pit lane, and we see this more like Las Vegas has a track, or has a pit lane that's like this, that's slightly curved. Kansas has... I think Kansas might be straight on. I don't remember off the top of my head. Kentucky used to be really bad about this. Iowa next year, when we go to Iowa, this is going to be a concern. The reason I'm saying this is because NASCAR dictates that you run the outside lane in pit road. like where the dotted lines are, you run the right side of that. You can't pass the inside of pit lane here, and you can't enter pit lane side by side. You have to run single file, like duh. But when we're at a in Richmond too, so Richmond is another example of this. Martinsville, same thing. When you have a pit road that has part of it down a straightaway and then part of it on the corner, when you actually look at the times and stuff, and not on pit road like pit box time, but the travel down pit road, it's typically shorter for those in the back half of pit lane towards the corner, because they're technically running less distance. Just like how everybody's like, well, if you run the outside lane at Talladega, you were running like a quarter mile longer around the entire track because the track is measured in the middle. And when we look at pit road at Phoenix, when you run if you're Sammy Smith here, you enter on the outside lane, you pit down the middle of the back straightaway, and you come back out, and then you have to run all the way on the outside, all the way out of pit lane. Whereas if you have a later pit stall on a track like this, specifically, this is another reason why the number one pit stall at Phoenix is so overpowered. It's not necessarily because of the launch you get. I mean, that's huge there. But it's really the amount of time that you save. Because, yes, you run the outside lane the entire time, but you basically cut the corner. You cut the pit lane all the way from the top of it, basically to the inside wall. You stop for your pit lane, and then you just leave on the inside. That's why the later pit boxes at Phoenix are very important. And so that's a concern that you have to have with Sammy Smith. The reason I'm bringing this up is because when we're looking at Nemechek and Allgaier has the advantage on pit lane. He does not have the advantage on the long run. We can very clearly see that Nemechek is there. I would argue that depending on, I don't even know where this guy is starting at. Let me see where they're at. So, clearly, Nemechek is going to be up front at the end of the first stage. Duh. He's going to be in front of Allgaier. But depending on how close Allgaier is to Nemechek in pit lane, if they actually enter the pits like Sammy Smith or Nemechek in first or second, whatever, if Allgaier can be between 6, and I would argue he probably needs 2 positions higher. He probably needs 4th or 5th. If Allgaier can be in 5th and 4th entering pit lane at the end of stage 1, he can take the lead. He can jump from 5th to 1st on pit lane here and beat out Nemechek. That's a real concern. So the whole, do you play Nemechek? Do you play Allgaier? I would lean Nemechek. I will always lean towards just the speed alone. I want to play the fastest guy. But there's a real case to be handled that Allgaier is very much open in this race. Yet again, going back, I kind of like that because that means, hey, Sammy Smith will probably have less ownership. I like him. Like I said, it's all based on what you put in. If I'm wrong on Sammy Smith, my day is just done right there. But we're trying to figure out what the field is going to do. And so once we get to that point, we can easily identify, so Nemechek is going to carry ownership. Allgaier is going to carry ownership. They're most likely going to be played together. Does somebody else pay up for another third guy, whatever the case may be? I like playing one of these two with Sammy Smith. That's probably where I would be at least where I'm at right here, just talking through. We haven't even talked about value yet. We're just trying to figure out where people are going to go. Let's get on Zeekster 69. Normally, I would be like, well, if you join the Patreon, you can see it. I'm basically talking you through my stuff here, but it is on Patreon and stuff. But I'll pretty much probably say it here. And so we have a situation where Nemechek, Allgaier going to carry ownership. We understand that Kligerman's going to carry ownership, so we understand that. Yet again, shout out, 0 in the account, in the red this weekend, already down $45. So we have a situation where Nemechek, we're going to have Allgaier. Oh man, I can't be building this in the 3. I can't look like a complete loser. I got at least build with the 10 in there. So when we get Nemechek, we get Allgaier, we get Parker, we get Paka. And I would assume that this is similar to, let's run this actually twice here. So same thing. Let's get SaberSim. Let's get SaberSim to run what the heck? Let's get them to run their own thing. I'm going to keep it wide open. Not even going to worry about contest sims. Right, yeah, this is their stuff. Let's I just changed 2 drastic things that you have to change 2 things to build lineups. You always, regardless, guys, come on. If you're using SaberSim, you don't like just go to the guy projected to fucking score nothing and just move that to 0. Like, I don't know what you're doing. So we'll let that run. I want to see where that ends up coming out at. Actually, another thing that I want to do. Let me get this open in another tab. Typically, what I do is also, secondly, if you want to try SaberSim, you can get it for much cheaper. You can get it for way cheaper through TrueDFS. But I like to have 2 tabs open so I don't have to deal with it in 1 tab. So we'll let that load and we'll come back to it. I'm going to assume that, let's see if we're correct, that's going to want to put Nemechek, Allgaier, and probably Klerman in a lot of lineups. And then once we get that, you can then have an idea of, hey, kind of where's the value going to be at? Where's all that going to go? So that's usually the first step that I do. And so when anybody asks me, who do you think is going to be owned, whatever, this is literally just what I do to look at that. Okay, so that's usually where I start, and then I start the show after I jump in and look at that type of stuff and everything. So now that we got that done, or now that we've kind of identified that, let's actually look in and see who I want to go with, who I like here. Going through this first. I don't put value on here because I just want to see the actual just the scores itself. I don't want to be persuaded by value plays or by the point per dollar. I'll look at that in a second. But I can see that Derek Kraus, Raja Caruth are guys that I potentially want to look at. This will kind of show me that I don't think I'm going to probably use Moffitt or Allgaier. Alfredo's probably going to be very popular. Yaley, I don't know what the hell this is all about. Like I did a bad job at not researching or not paying attention, but Yaley is under some wild ass like crowdfunding, or not crowdfunding. They are under fan controlled sports. I have no idea what this is about. I guess this is one of those things where like fans can choose what they do. Apparently, it's going to dictate their pitch strategy and choosing inside or outside lane. Look, it's so much of a variable. I don't even give a shit about it. Literally can't be any worse than what normal crew chiefs do. But so that's what's going on here. This is insane. Regardless of that, I think Yaley, at least alone by himself, outside of any nonsense there, is going to be pretty close to hitting value, or seems like a pretty decent play and stuff. And this is just looking at the numbers in and of themselves. Once we get back to here, you can kind of see where I'm at with everybody, the positions I've given them. So yet again, Parker's showing off. We got Sam Mayer, Josh Berry. They are most likely the candidates to take over if one of the championship 4 guys or the secondary lap leader or the primary lap leader is taken out in this race. They have a real chance of getting there if, like, I got these guys for 86, 60, whatever it be. Like, say if Sammy runs away with the race, Nemechek and or Allgaier gets taken out, these guys happen to score like high 40s, low 50s, it'll force them in with whoever the main lap leader is and stuff. And so when we're looking at fades and we're looking at builds and stuff, you have Allgaier, Nemechek. I would argue Custer in there as well because he's a lower price and has a very similar outcome to those guys. So it's like those 3. You probably need 2 of them. You're going to fade one or get off of them or whatever and kind of force those 3 in there. The secondary pivot off of those, or the secondary way that changes, is if those guys get wrecked out, then that moves to Josh Berry and Sam Mayer. So you have those 5 guys. I have 9 here. You have those 5. I don't know how to count. You have those 5 guys here that you can interlace and flip-flop and whatever. And so if you're building like 20 lineups, which I would normally do, I would probably intertwine 3 of those 5 guys in a majority of the lineups. Probably 14 of the 20 would be 3 of those 5. The other 6, I would probably be very aggressive on either 2 or 1 of those 5 individuals in case somebody ran away with the race or whatever. Let's see, what is this? Let's see what you guys are saying here. Raj will be good today. I have no idea. We'll see. Creed. I don't know about that. Creek and a wreck always does. Okay. Well, at least you guys are engaging here. 76 you guys here on a Saturday. Like, we never get this type of engagement on this stuff. On a random Xfinity Series race. Who's the first car? Mayor X? I have no idea. Do I make a lineup that has no championship guy? I don't believe. So, yet again, like, as wild as it is, like, last night is the anomaly. That's on the extreme side. Like, we very rarely ever see the championship 4 guys, like, get taken out or moved or whatever. Like, that's pretty just wild and pretty nuts. I would not be building for that situation to happen again. I mean, you can, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Fucking McLovin's gonna win anyway. So, I would not. I would just stay in the same thing. The reason I bring that up is because there's a lot of like extreme flip flopping of like, this happened last night in the Truck Series. Is that gonna happen this in the Xfinity Series, whatever? Same thing. Same argument with the stack from the back. I've gotten so many things being like, Brandon, I don't think you can stack from the back anymore. I just don't see it. They haven't been wrecking. Like, okay, they're not gonna wreck every fucking time. Like, we find the process that works and just stay with it. You know, you gotta just survive the down times or the times it doesn't work. But just stay in there. And so like yesterday, the whole field died. Like, am I gonna build for that every week? No. It happens more in the Truck Series than anything else. But in situations. Or I'm just not going to build that way. Anyway, continuing on. So when I see this, let's see what SaberSim's saying here. As I said, the hypothesis would be Nemechek, Allgaier, probably Kligerman here. So let's check out the exposure. So it's going safe play, safe play, safe play, safe. It's PD. And these things always like PD. But I want to see if it is tagging. This is being very conservative today, which I don't think is personally very useful. Like, it is not wanting to use either. Is it wanting to use Custer or let me actually do. This is one I'm gonna run their contest sim against their own thing real fast because I do want to see that. So let's find it. Let's look for it. Let's find the Grand Nationale. We'll let that run for a second and come back to it. So SaberSim is being very much like, hey, let's chase, let's do place differential just because that projects like better point per dollar plays and stuff like that. I personally don't find that useful at all. That doesn't help me at all. So we're going to kind of kill time and goof around with what I would do here. And so typically when I'm building, and usually I'll pull stuff from whatever the optimizer wants to do, and then or typically what I do is I hand build like my first 3 lines, and I go to the optimizer, and then I'll pull like 7, 8 lineups from that of different constraints or different groups, and then I'll go back and hand build the rest of them. So usually entering, this would be like if I'm doing 20 lineups, I would probably enter whatever line I end up making here the first time. So I would look here and be like, okay, these guys make a lot of sense. I like Timmy Hill as the value play. Probably easy to work with. Here, can we get to any place differential plays that make a lot of sense here? Or Alfredo 87. Yeah, so like I would enter this line. This would be one of the 20 lines I'd usually build. Like I'd enter this. Go ahead and Nemechek, and we can kind of check and see. I guess we'll kind of follow this stuff and pay attention. This is what I would normally do. I normally do it on 2 screens. So I would have like Sammy Smith. I don't even remember who the fuck I have in this lineup. That's why I need fucking 2 screens for it. So I would be like 1, 2, 3. I got those 3. Hill, Alfredo, Jones. Hill, Alfredo, Jones. 100 left over. And then I'd be like, bam, that's one of my 20, and then as we continue, or as I would continue on, I'd pay attention to what kind of lineups are being built, what the ownership is on every one of them. That's how I would do. So like, don't think I'm going to enter this line. That doesn't, like, it's my first one. I'm only doing 3 lines today, so I have to be pretty selective on them. But this is an example of how I build lines. Like that would legit be a line that I would play today if I was doing 20. But I'll have to come back to that in like 30 minutes and look at this line compared to other things. But like this one makes a lot of sense. And then first thing I would change would probably be these 2. And let's see if SaberSim got done yet. Okay, so all right, let's run your stuff. I already did that. I don't know why I did that again. So let's see. This is so fucking useless, man. Not a single lap leader at all. First lap leader is Nemechek. Everything else is place differential. Let's go in 1 lap leader here. So that could be 2 things. One, if this is what the field is going to do, which, as I said, mean projections are just not very useful here. You have to pin it down. So the field is most likely building a 1 lap leader line. I'm going to argue that it's going to build 2. I don't necessarily like these lines. Let's look at highest projected real fast. Let's change all this entirely and look through. It's still chasing place differential, man. It's got a lot of guys projected for 30s to 40s, which that's about what I have here. Wrong one. Yeah, so like over half, we got like 14 guys projected in that. So like, of course, that's going to be build a majority of the lines. So this isn't very useful. Which typically when I see this, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Then I'm just going to play like 2-3 lap leader builds. I'm going to play a shitload of Sam Mayer or of Sammy Smith and Nemechek, and then Nemechek and Allgaier. Like that's how I would build. I would build with like 2 primary lap leaders, if not 3 in all my line. That's what I would see here. Like, okay, if the field is going to build very heavy PD, that's what SaberSim is just doing by default, then clearly I like these types of builds, because you can clearly see that we're not looking at the projected score. That is not what the point of this is. Like, when you compare it with SaberSim, like they're at like 230. I'm at like 224. Like, that's why looking at projected score doesn't matter in relative to looking at other projections and stuff. It's against your own stuff. But clearly, like you can see here, and this is actually... This has to be backwards. Is it? No, 224. Wow. Even my highest projected one doesn't have lap leaders in it. It has Custer. What's the highest one with these 2 goobers? So like these are lines that I would play. So this is another aspect of me. So like a lot of the times people ask me, well, how do I play like random guys? Like I personally don't like Chandler Smith today. I think there's a lot of risk with him involved, but like he's in the second lineup with these 2 guys in there. I would absolutely. So yet again, I would hand build my first 3. I take some from SaberSim and throw it in there. I would absolutely play these. I would enter this line. I would enter this line. I would not enter this line with Cram. No, I would remove Cram from that. I would play this line. I would need a Raja Karuth line, so I'd play this line. I don't know if I play him with Parker, but like that's literally that's how I build lineups, guys. That's literally all it is. I throw my shit in there, try and get an idea of where the field's going to go. If I feel like I'm just on a drastically different track, and this race seems a lot more easier to do that than last night. I don't understand why. And this is another situation where like I don't have subscriptions to other places, but I'd love to see projections for other sites related to the lap leaders. Like, is everybody really just projecting Nemechek, Allgaier, and Custer together? I don't know. Either way. So now that we've kind of got through that process that you never see in my videos anyway, let's actually kind of look at the picks that I would actually really like to use and stuff. So like, it's the wrong one. I have so many tabs, so many fucking tabs open. And it's probably going to be primarily on this page. Like Nemechek, Custer. Probably won't get to Custer in the 3 lines, but I think he's a phenomenal pivot off of Allgaier and or Nemechek. I think Custer is very much in play. Sam Mayer has a high likelihood of getting through the field. What did I give him, Sam, here? Gave him 9. That's 7th. With some laps led. Or fast laps, rather. That's not... Sam might actually be the 3rd or 4th highest owned driver here. What's his price here? Yeah, 10.8. Barry's 9.5. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense of why Sam's wanting to be used so much in these builds. So as I'm looking through, Sam has a high likelihood of actually making it and being optimal today. In both situations of 2 lap leaders and or him just getting there in general. And so I said earlier, as I was processing through everything, when I was doing my 5 guys with my fingers, but I was holding up like 9 fingers and shit. Sam Mayer would probably move from the secondary pivot that would work when people start getting knocked out to probably third on the likelihood of being optimal, because it's going to be 2 lap leaders, or it's 1 lap leader and or a second lap leader, and then Sam Mayer, or Sam Mayer and 1 lap leader. Anyway, when I'm seeing this, how big is this contest again? This is slightly bigger. Say if this was a 10,000 person contest, I would be more inclined to go to Josh Berry, because these guys are very similar. Actually, Josh Berry would probably be just a better tournament play in general. Josh Berry and Sam Mayer are very similar plays on paper here. I have them projected for pretty much identical points. I mean, 5 points that these fast laps can go between any of them. Let's look at Josh Berry and Sam Mayer really fast. Yet again, you guys enjoying this? Is this helping anybody at all? I personally hate doing shows when I don't have answers, because like when I tune into shows, I'm like, just give me the picks, bro. Let me like, I just want to hear your thoughts. I don't want to see you doing thoughts on stream, but some people like that. I try and get all that stuff done before. So like, average alone didn't run as long as I want to see, but certainly Sam goes longer. No, they run they run identical laps. 10th off on all the laps averages. So seeing that, I haven't looked at the screen yet. Barry should be running pretty similar lap times to Sam Mayer. So 5 lap, Barry is there. 28.42, 28.73. That's a bit unfortunate, the 0.3 difference here, but they're both top 10 cars. Clearly top 10 cars. Sam with probably a realistic estimated outcome of finishing like probably 4th to 7th, with Barry probably 6th or 7th to 11th. But that difference of like 3 ceiling finishing positions leans me to Barry being somebody that I would actually want to get to. That makes a lot of sense. So like, that's 62. I don't like where I'd end up here. I might have to double punt if I was going to do this line. But this is a build. Even if you take Hill out, can we go anywhere else? Not really. I guess you could argue Perkins, but that's only 68. Anyway, these 3 make a lot of sense. And or can we run Sam Mayer with these boys, with these bad Mama John? No, we cannot. If you don't believe in Sammy Smith, this is a build that makes a lot of sense. I would probably entertain a line or 2 of my 20 with this build as well. Got a lot of safety here between the PD plays, lap leader, and or these here. Like, these are builds that I would entertain. I would look at. Let's see what you guys are saying, because I have no idea. I'm kind of I don't know where to take these live streams where I'm just showing everything, because I feel like I have nothing here. Let's see. Let's look through. I gotta get caught up on the chat. 64 you guys here. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the likes and everything like that. Chat it is. Worry you, Nemechek, faults under pressure in prime situations dating back. I don't even look at that stuff. Personally, for me, I don't. That at least for me, Chance, that's such an important thing. It's so important it doesn't even matter, man. Like, is he gonna crack under pressure? You know, some guys, that's a metaphor that doesn't even fit here. I was gonna say some guys in war jump on a grenade and some guys run away from it, but that doesn't help at all. But I guess that's equivalent to what situation here. Ounces didn't like his response, saying he's trying to change his mindset so he doesn't overthink. Okay, that's just announcer speak, man. They got to talk about stuff, man. What is Andrew, man? What's going on, man? First off, I frankly don't truly give a shit about McLovin. I really don't. If you are literally responsible for millions of dollars, this is how real life works. I'm not personally being mad at you. I'm just saying, if you are responsible for millions of dollars going into something, you're funding a politician, you are involved in local government, you are involved in a business, whatever the case may be, you are not going to be removed. You are not going to be taken down. And this is an internal issue of DraftKings. Like, none of us have any interest. First off, we don't have the money. Let's say, like, oh, McLovin's cheating in 3-mans years ago or whatever. Well, as us as individuals, we can't go up to our local government because a lot of us don't have the ability to show the information correctly. And when a lawsuit eventually comes out to face DraftKings, they're going to absolutely just kill us in legal fees. So, like, that's not going to come through. DraftKings, I don't even think they need to do anything. Kind of being called out on Twitter, called them to not, like, continue doing that stuff. Like, I don't know. It sucks. Straight up, it sucks to the people who got ripped off and cheated and stuff. But, like, this is not something major. This is the equivalent to, the not even anything necessarily equivalent to, or I might be speaking out of turn here. I don't have enough. I can't remember what I was going to say, so I'm not going to continue talking. But, like, who gives a shit, dude? McLovin spends literally millions of dollars on DraftKings. He has fuck you money. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter at all. He's not cheating in the GPPs that I play with, so I frankly don't give a fuck, man. I really don't care. I just think it's funny because, like, who cares if he cheats or whatnot? He wins a lot. Like, he knows what he's doing, man. Like, that's all it is. I mean, dude, it's insane how fucking piss poor Alfredo is. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. Yeah, well, okay. I mean, first off, we all knew about this stuff before they called him out. Like, that's been around a long time. Like, there's been colluding on DraftKings and stuff forever. But as long as it's first off, also, I don't want the government involved in any of this shit. Like, DraftKings fixes this on its own accord. That's all. The last thing we need is more shit flying from the government into this industry. Like, we don't need them involved in anything. We don't need them, like, any negative press in this industry, in my opinion, is bad for the industry. That's just how it is. I don't, at least here, in a situation where the government has taken away online poker away from us, I think we have enough strength here between the companies and the states and government for that not to happen with sports betting now that it's becoming legal and DFS. But everybody has to play. Everybody needs to take care of each other eternally. So, like, all these dumbass prop sites, refunding people, you're fucking it up for everybody, dude. You are absolutely fucking it up. Like, Prize Picks, Underdog, either buy into the casino and get in statewide, or get the fuck out of here. I don't want people like you in here, man. It's wild. Sports books, stop limiting people, but you can't do anything because it's government is involved. So, like, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. But, like, going after McLovin and just talking shit about him every time is not going to do anything. That's all I want. Oh, thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you very much for the support and being here and everything like that. You want top 4 and 2 guys that can keep it sit. You get. Thank you, Pete. You should do this yourself. You should start a YouTube channel and just tell people that every time, because that's. I remember I had somebody, I don't remember what it was. At some point they were like, "Yeah, you just need to make a video saying just play the top scorers." Like, genius, man, fucking brilliant. Growler Clements. I remember, because this is a situation I'm going to run into as well. I'm going to lean. Like, the practice lap's not going to tell us dick about either of these guys. They're both annoying. Clements and Gralla are very evenly matched. Practice speed shows Jeremy Clements being faster. I swear to God, if I looked at practice, it would normally indicate that Clements is going to be fast, and he just never is. We typically see Kaz Grala either be at the top of the leaderboards or right where he is here. This is a short track. The Sam Hunt cars are way better on the intermediates. With that said, I mean, Mozak qualified 10th, but I mean, both of these guys are like horrendous plays. I'm gonna honestly, personally, try to avoid playing either one of them. I would probably play. Which one is cheaper? Man. What is Clements bringing to the track? At this point, we're like way in the weeds, and I'm like finding anything to lean Clements over Grala, because my instinct is, and everything else is saying Grala over Clements. But typically at this point, I'll be like, well, man, I don't know. Maybe Jeremy Clements has like a good sponsor or something. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know how to spell Jeremy. Jeremy Clements. Let's see. I haven't seen Impel Union, whatever the hell this is. I haven't seen it before. All right, that's not helping me at all. So let me see. Where are these two guys here? In my own stuff, Clements would be at 10 and the 2. I'm gonna guess it leans Kaz. Pretty much identical. Okay, so that is very much a coin flip. What kind of bullshit, fake ownership? Even their fake ownership is pretty identical. Because I'm saying fake because I usually never ever use the ownership that SaberSim makes at all. So let's see what the SaberSim stuff does. So that's Clements there. Oh man. Okay. Well, that so it's literally a coin flip between those two. I can't find anything to make any difference. So I would probably lean the place differential of Jeremy Clements and hope that Kaz Grala and Sam Mayer and not Sam Mayer, Sam Hunt just run to issues late in the race like they always seem to do. Kaz Grala will probably run better, but I probably lean to Clements getting the better finish and being a better PD play or being a better DraftKings play there. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, well, I always do this, Vinny. This is always here. I always look at lap times, man. Let's see. Maybe for Carnage race. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, we kind of know that. Allgaier, Custer, Hemrick. Yeah. Where's Hemrick starting? I don't even know where I have Hemrick. 12. I don't know, man. I hate the championship 4 races, man. Like, they're so unfun for all this stuff because you have guys racing harder than other people. You have guys yielding. How much time we got? Like 44 minutes. I just personally don't like putting money on these races. I really, really don't like it. I personally wouldn't play Hemrick. When has the guy ever won anything? Has he ever won anything? I don't know. I was at the one race he won, and it was still a bullshit win. Let's see. Yeah, no shit, man. I'm just saying I don't think he's all... Yeah, I'm with you. Can we break down Brandon Jones' practice speeds? Yeah, I guess we can. So, okay, as we enter here, let's get some early... Or not early, but knowledge that you should be aware of before we even get there. So, I don't know why I'm bringing that over early. So, Brandon Jones at Phoenix. Let's take a look at how Brandon Jones does at Phoenix. Okay, so let's go here. If my memory is correct, this is one of Brandon Jones. It's one of his better tracks. Okay. So let's go and look at Phoenix for Brandon Jones. Let's get the rankings. All right, I clicked. All right, so here we go. We got Brandon Jones, one of his better tracks in all of Xfinity. So keep this in mind. This needs to be a knowledge that you carry entering every certain racetrack for certain drivers. So, like, just for whatever reason, he's good at Phoenix. That's just what he's been at. Whether it be the Joe Gibbs cars that he was in, whether it be the soft fields, whatever, he was always decently good here. He had won here. He'd pretty much always just run in the top 4 right behind Kyle Busch and, Custer and stuff like that. But this is one of Jones's better tracks. So seeing this, we should see him having speed here. Now, he has been slower since he went to Junior Motorsports because that team is fucking dog shit compared to Joe Gibbs. We look at this race specifically, and Joe, well, he finished like 20th, but was he a lap down? Did something happen? No, that's a lead lap finish. Don't know if he got in the damage or whatever, but so this is one of Jones's better tracks. So if he's so good, we should see good practice speed. So let's go ahead and look here. So, I mean, mid-tier, right where Junior Motorsports should be with like some fucking third-rate driver. So I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, not seeing anything out of the ordinary. We get to Jones. He's here, falls off a cliff. When we look at these, like, at least for me, whenever I see this stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, man. It says 4 here. I'm like, okay, cool. Early run, he's probably like a 7th fastest. Okay, cool. We get here, half the field's gone. He's probably like 12th or 11th fastest or whatever. Let's see what I gave Jones. So I gave Jones, I gave him like 13, 12, stuff like that. Yet again, do the Sims do the stuff pull? It's not going to show up. Yeah, okay. So like, do the Sims pull up this history? Does it lean towards him? Probably. If people are looking at spreadsheets, they're like, hey, Jones is pretty good here. They might play more Jones. I personally wouldn't. I just don't see the reason to. What is his price at? Even. What is Jones at? He's like 98, 89. Yeah, he's 86. Jones is just fucking horrible. The only thing carrying him was the Joe Gibbs car. And now that he's out of that, like, he's actually what he is. He reminds me of Brian Scott a lot. So anyway, answering your question, I would probably not play Jones. Kraus and Smith, I kind of talked about Smith already. If I played with him, or if I got a line with him, I'd build him. I wouldn't probably chase it. I got to actually figure out where I want to go with my lines. We're going to probably, I guess, kind of get the first one, kind of figure it out here at this point with, 60 guys still here. I think this is mainly about it. I think we kind of talked about everything. He hasn't said anything about Kraus. I haven't said anything about Kraus. And, yeah, I'm just not a fan of Chandler Smith. I'd play that lineup that I talked about on SaberSim that had him just when I'm building lineups, but he wouldn't be a guy that I would end up chasing. I don't believe I'm getting to Kraus as well. I don't think I got him for, what is that, like 15th, 14th, somewhere around there. Yet again, similar speed to Jones. Thank you, AD, for pulling this data so I don't have to. Right in line with where he's at, so I'm not going to get to Kraus and stuff. And, yeah, so I'm not getting there. So let's actually kind of, figure out where I want to go here. I'm not going to finish this line on stream, but I want to get a certain start. So I like Hill, so I'm using this. Probably going to go to, see what we can get here. I guess I can go back to my stuff too. Let's get these guys in here as well. I don't know. At least for me, I know I'm going to probably use this as a starting set. My next one would probably be without Sam Mayer. I'm probably going to run 100% Sammy Smith, and 100% Nemechek today. And it's just 3 lines. It doesn't matter, at least for me. But that's where I'm going to go. And yeah, maybe this helps you out. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But it's the end of the year. We're having fun. We're here to talk about stuff and just hang out and do things. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad that helped the Jones breakdown. I'm glad that I was able to provide some stuff. And then if I'm wrong, at least you understand why I landed on stuff. That's my main thing when I do live shows and stuff. whether I'm right or wrong, I just want to explain how I got to a conclusion, you know? And then if I'm wrong, I'm like, oh, what did I miss? What did I change on or whatever, right? Or I look back on projections post-race or whatnot, like where was I wrong at? But as long as at least I can come to conclusions of like justifying my thoughts entering something, and then if I'm okay post-race if something doesn't work out, and I ask myself, why didn't that work out? And my answer is, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Like I can't ask for anything more than that, you know? That's kind of where it is. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you, everybody, for joining, hanging out, having a good time. Enjoy the Xfinity Series race. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the Cup Series where we do this again. We're going to go one head-to-head with NFL shows, so I doubt we're going to have as many viewers as this. Probably be live at probably 10 Eastern, 9 Eastern, somewhere around there. We'll do the same thing. Hey, thank you so much, Pebcac, or however you want me to pronounce your name. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, you guys have a good Saturday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. So see you then. Thanks for coming out, and hope you enjoyed it.